2021 was probably the best year for billionaires in the 21st century. They have made more money than ever. The world's 10 richest people added $402 billion to their fortune. The 10 wealthiest individuals in the world are all worth more than $100 billion, according to Bloomberg. A couple of years ago, in 2019, just 2 people had a net worth of over $100 billion, Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. So it seems like the last 2 years weren't as bad as we imagined. We even can call them the golden age of the stock market. We might never experience anything like that in the coming future. Tesla stock, for example, rose from January 2020 to its peak in November 2021 by over 1,200%. That's why Elon Musk dominated the Forbes list with over $200 billion. $270 billion net worth is not a joke. He can buy entire countries. He even was ready to purchase Twitter, but it seems like it is not going as planned. Or maybe he just wanted to troll Twitter and wasn't serious about it in the first place. At some point, his net worth crossed the $300 billion mark. He added $121 billion to his net worth in 2021, just shy of $140 billion he added in 2020. If he continues growing at this rate, in 5 to 10 years, we'll see headlines such as Elon Musk is the first trillionaire, or Elon Musk, the person who crossed $1 trillion net worth. Even Saudi kings will envy him. It might seem like only tech billionaires made so much money, but that is not true. Take a look at Bernard Arnault. He's in the clothing business, and yet he has dominated the Forbes billionaires list with a net worth of $176 billion. Almost every luxury brand you think of belongs to his LVMH conglomerate. Sometimes it's difficult to make sense out of all of this because we're talking about numbers that most people will never achieve. I mean, even if you make $1 million a year, which will put you at the top of the highest earners, you will need 1,000 years to cross the $1 billion mark. So let's take a look at how many people cross the $1 million mark. The number of Americans with $1 million or more in investable asset surged to a record 14.6 million in 2021, up from 13.3 million in 2020. If you think about it, there is plenty amount of money to be made, especially in the United States, where the size of the economy is over $20 trillion. So the question is, how do people make millions of dollars while the vast majority are struggling financially? How do people make so much money when over 60% of the population can't come up with an extra $1,000 emergency fund? There is of course not a simple explanation for that. However, if you pay close attention, you will realize that anyone who has passed the $1 million mark has followed these 4 rules. They're so simple that it's easy to ignore them. That is probably why most people end up financially mediocre. So if you're ready, give this video a thumbs up and let's start with the first one. The rule of 20%. Take a look at any company. The vast majority of their sales or profits come from a few products, even if that company has a lot of products. Apple, for example, which seems like the most successful company in the world, has plenty of products from gadgets to services, but almost half of its revenue comes from iPhone sales, and another 30% comes from another 2 products. And its remaining products and services only account for like 10 or 20% of its revenue. Take a look at athletes. When you hear the news that they have paid millions of dollars just to play a single game, it blows your mind. You feel like you should have become an athlete. But the truth is that there are millions of athletes all across the globe, and only the top 1% of these individuals earn 80% of the money that is earned in this industry. The remaining 20% is shared by everyone else, and the vast majority can't even make a living by playing sports. The same goes for YouTube. The top 1% of YouTubers make millions of dollars, and the rest barely survive. Often, you will get a much higher ROI working in the McDonald's than making YouTube videos. Most YouTube videos get fewer than 50 views. Only 2% get 1,000 views or more, and 0.3% of the videos get at least 500,000 views. This means your odds of becoming famous via YouTube aren't huge. Even if you end up getting 500,000 views, trust me, you're not going to make a lot of money. The 20% rule, or the 80-20 rule, states that 80% of the consequences come from 20% of the causes. 20% of drivers cause 80% of all the traffic accidents. 20% of employees are responsible for 80% of the results. 20% of drinkers drink 80% of the alcohol. The ratio isn't always exactly 80-20, but it is somewhere close to that. 80% of wealth is accumulated in the hands of 20% of people, because 20% of people are solving 80% of the problems. 20% of what you do earns you 80% of your income. The point is, if you stop doing all these things that do not make your life significantly better, you will have more time to focus on things that will maximize your productivity and income. That's why you realize that it took some people 20 or 30 years to make their first billion and just 1 or 2 years to make their second billion. Number 2. Speculation is most dangerous when it looks easiest. The last 2 years have been some of the greatest years ever for crypto. People made fortunes trading crypto, but during the same period, crypto scammers took around $14 billion. Imagine how much money people have lost. This is not the first time. Back in 2017, the exact same story was repeated. Not to say that crypto or NFTs are scam, but they're filled with scams since they're relatively new and volatile assets. YouTube ads are filled with ads telling you how you can make fortunes just by buying their crypto coin, downloading their app, or just following whatever they are saying. It is as easy as that. But that's how people usually end up losing their barely saved earnings. So whenever it seems super easy to make money by speculating, be aware, because you will most likely step into a trap that will take you a long time to get out. Number 3. Stop reacting emotionally. If you have ever invested in the stock market, you know how strongly emotions come in the way, especially when everything is rising. It's not easy to watch everything from a side, but the last 6 months proved that just because everything is rising, it doesn't mean it is going to be like that forever. Despite high inflation, holding cash now is better than stocks or crypto, since both markets were crippled when the Fed raised the rates. We've explained in previous videos why the markets have crashed even though inflation is at the highest level in 4 decades. I will leave the link in the description. But you get the point. Always do your research and never rush into the market excited watching how others made money, because it is much easier to lose money than to make. Number 4. Self-reliance. This might not look like a financial rule, but it is probably the most important skill that every rich person keeps in mind. If you're relying on others for your income, you aren't going to go far, because no one cares about you as much as you care for yourself. If you have a job, your financial future is at the hands of your employer. Nothing wrong with that, but your boss isn't going to work hard to make you a millionaire. Your goal in every aspect of life should be ownership, working to build out what will remain yours at the end and not fade away in the hands of others. When it's yours, you are more motivated and more creative to build. In a world that is governed by self-interest, where everyone thinks of themselves first, you cannot depend on others for your own success. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.